Thanks for tuning in at Brackeys.
Hello everyone and welcome to another video covering the all-new Unity GUI system introduced with the Unity 4.6 beta. It's still in public beta and you can download it from unity3d.com for completely free. So today we're going to be covering something quite cool, which is the Unity ScrollRects. And this basically allows us to fit more things on the screen. So this is what we're going to be making today. You can see I have a window with a bunch of text, and now we can click and drag this to reveal more. We also have a scroll bar that does exactly the same. Cool. So if you have any questions throughout this video, please head over to forum.brackeys.com, where I am, among many other developers, are just waiting to answer your questions or to give you feedback or whatever you're looking for. So again, head over to forum.brackeys.com for any questions whatsoever. Awesome. So let's just get started. I'm just going to delete the canvas here that I'd made and the event system, and we're going to start from fresh. So to begin with, let's right click in the hierarchy. Let's head under UI and let's create a panel that is going to act as the background of our window. So we can just head over into the scene view and focus on this panel. Let's zoom a bit in on it, and then maybe let's scale it down, position it so it doesn't fit the entire screen here. Something like this looks pretty okay. Let's see how it looks in the game view. Pretty nice. We can give it a bit more on the left side there. And yeah, I'm actually pretty satisfied with that. So now let's go ahead and just make a quick label up here with the title. So let's right click, go under UI, and let's select image this time. And you will notice that when I right click on the panel and then hit image, it is automatically parented to that, which is pretty cool. So once we've created this image, what we could go ahead and do is we could move it up here, center our view on it, and then just maybe scale it down a bit to make it a bit smaller here, just enough room for a title of some sort. And the problem with the way we've set this up right now is if we go ahead and scale, let's say, the panel here, you can see that our image doesn't correctly follow the border of our panel. And the reason why is we are currently anchored to the center of our panel, but we actually want to be anchored to the top of our panel. So in order to do this, we could go ahead and just take this flower here, our anchor, and move it up. Or we could use some of the presets over here. So click here on the anchor presets, and then simply select the top one here, this one. Make sure that you don't select any stretching, or our image is going to stretch with our panel, which is really not what we want. We want it to be completely centered and only move position-wise and not scale. Now we can go ahead and right-click on our image, go under UI and select text. And let's again go to the anchor presets. And this one we want to stretch on both the X and the Y. So we'll just select the one in the right-hand corner, and you can see that our anchor has snapped to completely fill out the its parent, which is the image. And now we can simply just drag this over and scale it to be the size of our image too. We could set this the numbers up here to 0 manually. This is basically 0. It's just really close to that. So let's select 0 here, and that is a small error with the current beta, is that these values up here will not always display complete 0, but something extremely close to that. I mean, this is basically as close to 0 as it gets. Cool, so now let's change the text to, let's say, window. You can of course change it to whatever you like. And then let's make it align with the center and align with the middle. So here it's centered, and That's basically all we want to do for the text here. You will notice in the game view that this might look a tiny bit blurred. The reason why is we have to select our canvas and hit pixel perfect, and now everything will look very crisp and sharp. Cool, so now we are actually ready to create the scroll rect itself. And in order to do this, what I want to do is I want to create basically a parent for all of the text that we are going to be using. So let's right click on the panel, go under UI, and let's just create an image here because it's so easy to see. And let's maybe make sure that this scales completely with the panel. So let's select the anchor preset in the bottom right corner, like this. And now we can just scale this up a bit. Something like this looks pretty good. And then scale it on the X too. And this is what is going to host all of our content. For now, we can go ahead and disable the image here. And let's just rename this to ScrollRect. Then we're going to go ahead and add a component to this called UI and then ScrollRect. And we're going to leave everything as is for now. This is not going to work yet. Then we're going to right click on the ScrollRect itself, hit under UI and select the text. And let's just make this again scale with its parent. So select the bottom right anchor preset. Now let's make sure that the left is 0, top is 0, position Z of 0, and a right and bottom of 0. So it's completely filling out its parent. Now we can go ahead and make some text for this. And I've just gone ahead and found a random text generator. So here I'm just going to paste this in. You can do whatever you want here. And you can see that this text easily overflows the scroll rect here. So what we can do is we can simply scale this down. And this paragraph is really long. I'm just going to scale it to here or something. And now what we want to do is we want to tell the scroll rect that this is the content that we wanted to, well, scroll. So let's select the scroll rect. Let's drag the text under the content and just release. And that was basically it. Now when we hit play, we can see that when we can drag this with our mouse and it will actually work. Now there is a problem with this, and that is that our text is currently overflowing. You can see that it's not being masked out, so it's basically visible on the entire screen. And that's really annoying. So to make this more clear, I'm just going to go ahead and make this text completely white. So it's just a bit more apparent. And then what we can do is we can select the scroll rect and add yet another component. But in order for this component to work, we're going to have to enable the image, because we're going to be adding what is called a UI mask. And a mask takes in some kind of image. It takes a sprite that we can then mask with. So let's hit add component, UI, and then mask. And then we have the ability to simply disable the mask graphic. So simply hit disable the show mask graphic. And you can see our text appears again. It's very important that you use this to disable the image and not this up here, or we are not even going to see our content. Cool. So now when we hit play, everything works just as expected. One last final detail that we can add to this is a scroll bar. And this is actually really easy. All we have to do is right click on the panel, hit under UI and select scroll bar. Now we can go ahead and make this a bottom to top, so we don't scroll horizontally. Then we can maybe set the width to 20. And the height, we're going to bump that up. Let's also move it over here. Maybe we can make this element snap to the right-hand side. So let's just set the anchor preset to the right-hand side here. No scaling. Or actually, do we want this to scale? Yeah, we can scale with this. So let's just make it scale on the right. And then we can just scale it up here manually to fit. And this actually looks pretty good. Let's just move it in here. Actually, I scaled it a bit too much. It's better, I think, if it just fits the content. And that's basically it. So let's try and hit play here. And indeed, we have a scroll bar, but it is actually still not working. So what we need to do in order to get this to work, and this is what I notice that most people forget, is to go under the scroll rect and then drag the scroll bar under the vertical scroll bar. Make sure it's the vertical or it's going to behave really weirdly. So just drag it under there. And one thing we can also do is disable horizontal movement, so we make sure that this will only move vertically. Now when we hit play, you can see that we can use the scroll bar to adjust what part of the text we are viewing. One thing I really like to do with scroll bars is I like to select it and then disable the background image and only have the handle. The handle can be adjusted under the scroll bar, sliding area, and then handle. And I also normally like to tone that down a bit so so that the scroll bar doesn't take up so much of the window. Cool, so that was basically it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.